Hi guys, welcome to today's session of Let's Build It Together. In today's session, we essentially going to handle the routing between the switch and the firewall, whether it's the FortiGate or the SRX. But the first thing I want to do right now, if you all recall, we have different IPs on our SRX and our FortiGate firewall. So what I want to do is we do have a management VLAN on our switch. So I'm going to put that management VLAN to use so that instead of me having to change static IPs all the time to access each device, we'll just plug all the devices into the management VLAN and access it via layer 2, as well as the layer 3 IP. So each IP would sit in the management VLAN, and I'm going to set that up for each device, and I'll show you as I go. So the first thing we have to do is set up the ports on the switch. So I'm going to log into the switch. As you all recall, this IP is the IP on the back of the switch on the management port. This is dedicated port for management. So I am going to set up about 5 ports in the management VLAN, and we'll go from there. So set interfaces and the port number, family, Ethernet switching, VLAN members, net management. And we're just going to use the up arrow and get this done as quickly as possible. So it's 24, 25, 26, 27. So I'll just do it till 30 for now. So we have enough ports for any amount of devices. I don't think we have this many devices, but this should be fine. So that should be enough ports. So let's connect check. Oh, connect check. And make sure there is no other VLAN existing on the port, because you can't have more than one VLAN existing on an access port. So we should be fine. Commit management ports. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move across these switches. To access it, I would need to set, because DHCP is not allowed on the management VLAN, I'm going to have to set a static IP on my machine to access all 3. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect to the SRX. I'm going to change my IP and change the IP on the port 7 now we are using for management to 100 IP, which is our management VLAN. Let me just step down to there. All right, so this is our management VLAN. So all of the IPs on all our devices need to sit in this subnet. So right now, we would use the 100.1 to access the switch. I would set 100.2 and 100.3 on the Juniper Firewall and the FortiGate Firewall respectively. And I would have my IP as something high up in the range that would never be used. Right, so to connect to the SRX, the IP I set was 10.10.10.10. So I need to change my static IP to 10.10.10. Okay. So once this comes up, new session 10.10.10.10. So we can go edit, show result, show config. Right, so we are going to change the IP on port 7, and then we need to make sure that our port 7 has SSH allowed. Right. So set interfaces GEFE subnet to family INET address 192.168.194.2. That is a /24. And just confirm that management we set up as a /24. Yes, it was. Perfect. So show type in here. So what I need to do is delete the other address. So delete. Nice. Let comment IP change. The SRX will come out of my PC and go directly into the switch as well on port 25. And once I make the change on the this is not going to open now because my IP would have changed. So I'm going to move the SRX to port 25. And now we need to connect to the FortiGate. So the FortiGate default IP is 99.1.99. So let's do this again. It is 192.168.1. Whoa. So, whoa. It's supposed to be 200. All right. Now, as you all would recall, this is GUI based. So 192.1.9. Here we go. Advanced. So what we are going to do is change the IP on the management. So interfaces. So we are going to change this to 100.3. Perfect. Good. We do not need the HCP on anymore. We'll use a static IP to access it. And now I need to plug in this device into. So next, I need to plug in my PC into a management port as well with a static IP. Okay, so let me just set a static IP on my PC. 100.200. Okay. Moment of truth. So 192.100.3. Right, so this should be the switch. This should be the SRX. So that this is just, again, the point of management is so that I don't have to keep going to a million different things to get to any device. So right now, all three devices are set up on the management subnet. This will be our FortiGate. Great. So now we can actually start configuring the routes. So I'm going to start by configuring the routes on the switch, and then we'll move forward. So we can just minimize this for now. Use this one now. Use this one now. Switch. Now, these sessions that you see in here, because the other two sessions would have quote unquote hang and not in use anymore, that would happen. So the only route that we need on the switch is to point to the IP on the firewall. Now, let's show interfaces. Right, so we are using port 0 to connect to the firewall, and the IP on this side is 10.1. So our next hop on our static route would be the firewall, which should be 10.2. I would confirm the IP when I get to that side. Actually, I can confirm the IP now. Let's show interfaces. Okay, so I have the same IP on both sides. Now that would create an issue. So I would change the IP on port 1 to 10.2. So let me set up the route, set routing options, static route. Now it's a default route, so it is 0.0.0.0/0. Next hop would be the IP on the other side, which I'm going to copy this, .2. Right, you don't need the slash. Okay, so that's fine. Right, so commit, comment, static route. That's the only route we're going to need on the switch because all the other routing takes place locally. So the purpose of this route is really for internet access, and the internet access is coming from the firewall. So while that is committing, let me go on this side. Okay. And we are going to edit interfaces FE1. Sure. Right, so we need to change this IP to 10.2. I'm guessing I would have the same error on the FortiGate, so I'll just change the IP to .2 as well. Check, comment, and we should be fine. Actually, let's not commit that yet. So we change the IP. The next step would be to set up the static route to the internet. And for all the local subnets that are going to be hitting the firewall. So how it's going to work is that our default route on the switch is pointing to the firewall. So once the traffic hits the firewall needs to know what to do with it. So for internet traffic, our default route on the firewall would be to send traffic to the internet, which is our port 0. And the other traffic, which is the other subnets that the firewall is going to see, it needs to know what to do with the traffic when it comes back. So we need to set up static routes for each of the subnets that we have, so that the file would know what to do with it. So this would be the command if you all had a static IP from our provider, but right now our port 0, which is our internet, is set to date. So we would get this default route by default, basically from the provider. So what we are going to do is set up the specific routes for all of our networks. So our networks would be these. 20. Next hop for this is going to be this IP. Because 10.1 exists on the switch, and we just need to do this for all the other subnets. 30, 40, and right in here, and 20. Again, if we had an IP under our port 0, showing this is 0. Because it's set to DHCP, if we had a specific IP, our next hop would be the provider gateway. But since we don't, we would get that route by default. So let's just comment out. Once this is done, I'll connect the devices together and we'll run a ping test from the switch to the firewall IP, which would be the 10.2. There we go. So let me connect these together. Good. Now that that's connected, okay, so I'm going to check and make sure that I have ping alarm port 1 on the firewall. I don't remember if I enabled it. So show policies, security zones. Let me scroll up. So port 1 does not have any services allowed. So let's go edit, security zones, security zone. This should be internal. Sure. So we're going to set interfaces to FE. Then let's host in one traffic. System services. Let's document confirm. Commit confirm word committed for 10 minutes by default. So this threshold needs to be committed. And I'm going to review the configuration again because there is no reason why I shouldn't be getting connectivity on the same subnet. So I'm going to review the configuration on both sides. Leave this ping running. Sure. Okay, so we have two IPs on port 1. So let me go edit that. Edit interfaces. Delete family. Slash. Let's see if that brings back up our pings. Ah, there we go. So the reason why our pings weren't working is because we had two IPs on the same port. So let's stop that ping. Okay, so top, run, ping, 10.92.160.10.1, and we could ping in both directions. So again, the reason why we couldn't ping before is because when I changed the IP on port 1, I then removed the old IP. So it had 2 IPs on the port and it wouldn't have worked. So our pings are working between our core and our SRX. Okay, so now that we tested that, the next thing we're going to do is actually simulate a user. So I'm going to move myself from here and put myself in, what is the user? Yeah, port 2. So I'm putting my PC in port 2. Let me change my IP address, properties, okay, so I'm going to ping, confirm we have an IP of 20.12. We should be able to ping our gateway 20.1. That's an issue. Now we are going to try to reach the IP on our switch and the IP on the firewall. So ping 10.1.2. Okay, again, because Windows doesn't handle having multiple gateways properly, because my Wi-Fi is on, I would have an issue. So I'm going to temporarily turn off my Wi-Fi. I'll let the pings come up and I'll take it back off. And my pings come up instantly. So I'm going to turn it back on and switch my IP to .2 and we'll try to ping again. So let's just wait for that to start back timing out. Wi-Fi is back up. And we'll change it to the IP on the SRX. Let's start timing out. Turn off my Wi-Fi. And it's up. So again, it's just that Windows doesn't handle having multiple gateways properly. That this would keep happening. But it's not an issue. It shows that as a user sitting in the user VLAN, I would get to the SRX and then the default route on the SRX would send me to the internet. Great, so now that that's tested, essentially it's going to be the same concept on the FortiGate. You make sure your static routes are there. The default route, again, would come from the provider because we don't have a static IP. And that's the routing session between the Juniper switch and the Juniper firewall. So to create the routes, we just go create new. Our subnet is going to be 192.168.20.0/24. Our gateway address would be the address on the switch, which is 192.168.10.1. And our interface is going to be access internal. Let's look at the advanced options. No, so this is fine. And we just need to repeat this for all the other subnets. So again, create new. It's going to be 30. Gateway address is going to be 10.1. Interface is that. So that's 2, 4. Yes, I know. 10.1. Interface. Create new. Let's see. 10.1. And that should be all of our routes. Again, because we don't have a static IP from our provider, what would happen is that we would get our default route from them. And our default route would just say 0.0.0.0/0, next hop of whatever the provider IP is. Right, so that's the static route. So I should be able to plug interfaces. Let's plug this in to port 1. And port 1 should show that it's up. Good, so now that that's plugged in and it's showing, as you can see, once ports are active, it'll show up as green. It's blue if PoE is being given from the port. So port 7 is our management that's plugged into the switch. Port 1 is our access interface for internet access to the switch as well. So what we are going to do is run a ping test from the firewall to make sure that we can see the switch. So again, like I said, we do use the CLI on the FortiGate for some things. So it's execute ping 192.168.10.1, and we can reach the switch. So it would work in the other direction as well. And .2 is our IP. Obviously, we'll be able to reach that. So from the switch side, we should be able to reach the 10.2 IP as well. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to change my IPs, and I'll come back when that's done. Good. So I just did an IP config. I'll do it again. And I kept the same IP. So we are going to try to ping 192.168.10.1. We can reach that. That is the switch IP, so obviously we should be able to reach that. Let's see. Right, again, Windows would have cut my Wi-Fi, which would have cut my connection because of the multiple gateways problem. So let me plug this back in. And once I do, my ping should resume. There we go. So again, it's because Windows doesn't handle having multiple gateways properly that because I'm getting a gateway from DHCP and my Wi-Fi is on, I have 2 gateways. So it gets confused as to which one to use, and I would lose internet access. So I'm going to unplug this now, just to make sure that my session doesn't cut again. And that's actually it for the routing on between the switch and the firewall. Like I said, all the local routing between subnets happens on the switch. The only reason we need to go to the firewall is for internet access. So in our next sessions, we are going to tackle the wireless side of it and the integration into the switch. What I may do is actually configure it standalone first and then show you all how to incorporate the having the multiple VLANs on the multiple SSIDs and stuff like that. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that.